All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome again to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Montgomery County. My name is Mauricio Vasquez. I am the Executive Director of the Chamber, and I'm very happy to see so many people connected this afternoon for our Unlock the Power of Digital Marketing presentation with none other than Nestor Bravo, CEO and founder of Bravo Media Corporation. And so we're excited to have so many people with us and to have Nestor this afternoon to talk to us about the potentials of digital marketing and everything that we need to learn in terms of providing avenues and opportunities for small business community. Before we begin, a couple of things. As you can see in the presentation, if you can, please follow us on our social media channels. We have Instagram, X, Twitter. X is Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I also want to bring your attention to our next networking event, which will be on May 1st, and that'll be celebrating Cinco de Mayo. In conjunction with the Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber of Commerce, we will be at the DoubleTree Hilton in Gaithersburg. It's a fantastic event that we do annually with the Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber. We look forward to seeing you there on May 1st. You get the link to register, hccmc.org/Cinco de Mayo. If you register with us, if you're a member of the chamber, it's a $30 registration. If it's general admission, it'll be $45. Today, if you register and you use the code HCC, you take a look at the event. It's a very well-attended networking event, one of the biggest networking events that we have throughout the year. So it's a great opportunity to meet, connect, for us to meet each other in person and to connect with many, many other members of our community and the GGCC community. So it's time and money well spent. I strongly suggest that you take the time and visit us on May 1st, 6 o'clock until 9 p.m. We're going to be offering food, refreshments. There's going to be a cash bar, plenty of opportunities to connect. We're going to bring a DJ and more. So if you register with us, you can use the code HCCMC Cinco de Mayo, and you're going to get the membership price of $30. So I encourage everyone to take the opportunity, use the discount code, and register on our Eventbrite, and get the opportunity to mingle and connect with us on May 1st. So again, this event will be Thursday, May 1st. And without any further announcements, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker for the day, and that is Nestor Bravo. Nestor, muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. Nestor is from Venezuela. He's been an actor in Venezuela and has a wonderful bio, and I'm going to let Nestor introduce himself. Buenas tardes, Nestor.
Buenas tardes, Mauricio. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much for inviting me to this amazing event. I will make sure I'm there on Primero de Mayo, on May 1st for that Cinco de Mayo networking event. It sounds to be amazing. So I'll make sure to participate there. Thank you so much for this invitation. I'm very glad to be here, very honored, and hopefully we'll pack as much value as we can in the next 30 to 35 minutes. All right, let's get started. So I want to go ahead and share my screen so I can share a presentation that I have prepared for you. I want to talk to you about some sort of an agenda that we're going to follow during this presentation. So first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and about my company, and then we'll share, I'll go ahead and share the system that we've created to digitally transform brands that you'll be able to apply to your own brand with actionable items that you'll be able to use as well for your own brands. Then after that, if we still have time, I will go through some of the most important steps to make professional videos with your phone. And then at the end, we'll have a short session of Q&As for any questions you might have. So if you have some questions, I encourage you to write them down And, at the end of the presentation, we'll go ahead and give you some opportunities to ask those questions. Is that correct, Mauricio?
Yes, sir, that is correct. And I encourage everyone to type the question in the chat. And we're going to wait until the end of the presentation. Then I will be reading those questions sequentially, and Nestor will be providing answers. So the best way, wait until the end of the presentation. In the meantime, if you have a question, write it in the chat.
Perfect. All right. So let's just talk about, about myself and our company. So my background, like Mauricio mentioned, is in acting. I started in, let's say in the media, acting and hosting TV shows back in 2006. I got the third place to a reality show in Venezuela called Venevisión Busca Animador. And that's when my career started. I made a couple of 3 to 4 soap operas. I hosted some shows, and then at the end of that short 4 to 5 year career, I had to leave my country for political reasons, and then got here to the United States in 2011. And I was hired. My first job here in the United States, I was hired by Hortensia Torres. And I always mention her name because she's a very important person to me. She is a Venezuelan attorney that is still the CEO of a company called Global Group. And she took me in and became my mentor and taught me a lot about taxes, about business, about how to register your business. And while I was working for her, I created my first agency called Carpet Media Creations in 2012. By then, my only goal was to make beautiful videos, was to make cool videos that people would like. And some of you that speak Spanish that have been here in the area for a long time will know this when I mention it. But a quick story, back in 2012, when I opened that first company, one afternoon I was watching local TV. I was watching the local Univision, and I saw the commercial of La Casa se está quemando. And I know a lot of you know which commercial I'm talking about, but it impressed me so much that a local TV station was airing those type of commercials that it became my goal to have commercials that aired on that TV station. And that God, the universe, somehow made that happen. 1 year later, I was hired by local Univision Washington through a story that I might tell later on, but it was some people say it's coincidence, but I think the universe and God put me there. And then for the first time in Univision Washington, I was involved in a production team that didn't need 20 to 40 people to make something beautiful happen. For that show, we aired live on Univision Washington from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. every day for 2.5 years. And we made that show, 4 of us, just 4 people. And I had a cousin, I was used to seeing, 40 to 50 people back in my home country, doing these amazing productions. But then I realized, wow, so you can make, something beautiful, something of great value with less than that. And so that was my first experience here in the media and Univision Washington. And at the end of that period, 2.5 years in 2015, I had the pleasure to become a producer, a video producer for what was then CBS Radio, then became Entercom, and right now is Odyssey. And I became a producer, a video producer for all those, radio stations you see on the screen: WPGC, Fresh FM, El Sol, Connecting Vets. And for the first time, I was involved in a digital department. Okay, I was part of the department that had video editors, graphic designers, creative writers, project managers, a leader, which was Mike Gartell. I always try to mention his name too, because he taught me a lot. And so for the first time, I was involved in a digital team, and I understood what a digital team was. And to back up a little bit, when I had made that first agency, I would deliver videos to my clients, but those videos would not produce any results more than views or maybe a couple of good comments, but they wouldn't produce any big results. And so that always stayed on my mind. And when I got to Entercom, I realized why that was happening. It was because there wasn't a digital strategy behind my videos. There wasn't any distribution behind my videos. And that's one of the main things that I learned in CBS Radio and Entercom was that. And then later on, I was able to do a workshop that was called, Building Legacy Through a Global Workforce. And I learned how to create international teams to be able to work within the US. And, you know, that that workshops took me and led me to creating my first agency, which was my second agency, sorry, which was called, Bravo Media Corp, which to this day will still operate. And with that agency, we won our first Emmy award with the show Silvana Quiroz Presenta, which was my former colleague that I worked with back in Buenos Dias DC in that Univision show. And, to this day, this is what we've been doing. We've been basically transforming brands digitally with a system that we've created, a 5-pillar approach to digital marketing, which is basically what we'll be talking about today. But first, I want to ask, I'll ask that question after the next slide. I have another question for you right now. If you were to build a house, would you start by the roof? I suppose that the answer is going to be no. Then another question arises. Would you then start by the walls? Another no. The best way to start building a house, it's foundation. And in this slide, I want to talk about the digital ecosystem, which is basically the sum of all the elements and the parts of your of what you have to be able to transform your brand digitally. Digital ecosystem starts by the foundation. It's basically comprised of your own media, your paid media, and your earned media. So for the own media, this is the base of everything, and I'll explain in more detail in the next slides. But your own media is the only thing that you really own on the internet, and the only thing that, even though you see 4 different bullet points there, the only thing that you really own on the internet is your website and your blog. But your blog is part of your website. It's the only thing that is really yours. When you see search engine profiles, blog, and your social media profiles, which are, free profiles within these platforms. I use the quote unquote mark because they're not really free. We pay it with our time, with so much time that we spend in them. But they're basically a rented room in a building that does not belong to us. So tomorrow, if they decide to close Instagram, if there, anything happens that has that, closed down, you basically lose all of your followers and all of your opportunities. And that's why everything should come from your website. And I'll explain it a little bit more in detail in the next slides. Then you have a second level of your digital ecosystem, which is the paid media, what you pay to distribute and to get results for you. And that is social media campaigns that they're developed, in your own media, which profiles that you've previously created, advertising in Google and YouTube, and SEM, which is basically the same thing as advertising in Google and YouTube, but SEM, it's short for search engine marketing. You got Yahoo, Bing, and Google. These are the main search engines in the world, and you can also run ads there as well as in social media. And then on top of the house, on the rooftop, which is most people will start their digital ecosystem right there on the rooftop, which is, comments, reviews, or recommendations on social media. Organic posts by customer that mention you or that recommend your product. It's basically your brand ambassadors. And that could be, regular consumers that are satisfied with your services and products, or influencers or people that you kind of form alliances with. And now I want to go to that same question I wanted to ask before. Does anybody here have unlimited money? Like, let me know if anybody here have unlimited money. I don't, and I'm going to assume that most of the people here don't have digital unlimited money, and that is why we've created this system to transform brands digitally. Because if you have unlimited money, well, you can go straight to paid content and invest a ton of money on all different platforms, and you're likely to get really good results from month 1. But the truth is that very few people have unlimited money that can do that. And so This is why we've created this system that follows a chronological order, which is very important to understand that, and I'll explain why in the next slides. But if you follow these 5 pillars, I can assure you that you will get great results. Whether that is building a community, getting more followers, getting more sales, duplicating sales, or basically scaling your company. But like I said before, chronological order is very important when applying this system. Why? Let's talk about the first one. The first one is web and SEO. When I started this presentation, I told you that this is your web page and your blog are the only things that you really own on the internet. Okay, web and SEO basically means that having a nice looking website isn't enough. It needs to be optimized for search engines, and that's what SEO means: search engine optimizations. If some of you didn't know about that, but basically having a website that is properly configured, set up, that has the proper amount of words, and that has words that talk about the purchase intent, the intention that people have when they go online to search for your services and your products. And by the way, when we finish this presentation, any of you that want to get a hold of this presentation, we will gladly send it to you, and I'll tell you how on the last slide. And so, on your website, this is the first thing that we talk about inside our system, because it's the thing that takes the most time, but the least money to do. I want to go ahead and recommend you a book. Take note of this book. It's called "They Ask You Answer" from Marcus Sheridan. Marcus Sheridan used to be, well, he still is the owner of River Pools and Spas, which is basically the biggest prefabricated pool company in the U.S. And this book is about the power of blogging and content marketing based on your website. This person still makes hundreds of thousands of dollars just out of his blogs. And so it's basically understanding what are the terms that people are using to find your product or service, and building density behind those search terms that you're using to get people to find you. So, for example, if you have a law firm company and you know that a term that people are using to find you is "cuánto cuesta un abogado de inmigración," or "how much does an immigration lawyer cost," or "how much does this specific process with an immigration lawyer cost." And if you go ahead and if you have a blog post on your website that talks about that specific search term that person searched for, either on Google, Yahoo, or Bing, your website is likely, if it's properly configured, it's likely to appear on those results, and then you will have a lead that you can call, and you can just pass on to your commercial team and your sales team so that he or she can become a client. So that's basically web and SEO. And why does it take so long? Well, you could start your website and build your website tomorrow and start writing blogs. Some people write blogs daily. Some people write blogs weekly. Some people write blogs monthly. Some every 6 months. But the truth is that behind blogs is what I just mentioned. The keyword density is very important, meaning that every time you write another blog about a specific topic, about a specific search term, you will build a density behind that search term. The more density you have on certain search terms, the more or the better results search engines are going to show about your website. And so if you started that website tomorrow and started writing blogs on your website, let's say you have a huge competitor that's been on the market for 10 years and they've been writing blogs for 10 years. It's very difficult for you to achieve, and to kind of compete with them, because they have such a great advantage over you because they've been writing for so much longer than you. But there's a strategy around this. So when you want to go ahead and write the content for your website, make sure you do keyword research, and you find similar words to those who are your bigger competitors, and just don't choose the same one or the same ones, because it will be very difficult for search engines to index you over them. But you can choose similar keywords that don't have as much competition, but they still have great numbers in searches. And you can use tools like keyword.org to find that, or there's a couple of apps that I can recommend later on for you to do that keyword research. Okay, so that's a first pillar. Once you have your website, which is basically only content, design, a hosting, which is the company that will host all of those files, and a domain, which is the URL. In our case, is bravomedia.com. So once you have all of that, start writing on your blog, start understanding what your audience is looking for, and I'll give you a couple of tips later on to understand in a better way what your audience is looking for. And then we move on to the second pillar, which is definitely, without a doubt, my most favorite one of them all, the organic content. I'm pretty sure you've heard a lot about organic content. And, I like to call it the soul of your brand. Organic content is what gives your brand personality every day. It means creating things like posts, videos, blog articles, and reels that teach, inspire, or entertain. And it's very important that you keep these terms really close to your heart, because that's what you do, that's what I do, and that's what everybody does whenever they go online. Um, they go to learn, to get inspired, or to get entertained. Those are the three things that we do online. And if you're able to do those things, whether one on each video or all three on the same video, but if you get the habit or form the habit of teaching, inspiring, and entertaining your audience on your organic posts, there's the success is inevitable. People will start coming to you. Algorithms will start showing your content. Your brand will grow, and you will get more clients. But I have a lot more tips to come. Tips for great content would be to have a clear and distinct brand voice, understanding the type of language that your brand has, the type of audience that your brand talks to, and understanding what that audience needs and wants is one of the greatest things you can start doing for your brand right now. A lot of people will post content based on what they think people are wanting to learn, what they think would do good content. But when you turn your attention inward, when you turn your attention to your audience, to your clients, to the experiences that you're having in your business every day, you start creating content that really resonates with people out there. And I just want to talk about viral content in the next couple of slides, and how we generate viral content for our clients, and how we get there little by little, but how we eventually get there with each and every client. How to create content that works. So I'm going to give you a couple of steps here that you can use to start creating content that resonates with your audience and that works. But I'm going to take a small water break. So for any of you that ask yourselves what organic content is much more than just posting something on social media. It requires strategy, observation, and most importantly, deeply understanding your audience. And these are a couple of steps that we can follow. So first of all, we need to understand who we are talking to. So before we create any posts, we need to understand what our target audience is. And I know most of you will know what your target audience is, but not necessarily know the different buying personas that exist within your target. Target is something a lot more general. But when you start talking about buying personas, you get a lot more specific. And within a target, you can have 3, 4, 5 different buying personas. And so knowing that and having that somewhere for your team and for you to review and to check every now and then, it's very important. And I'll show you a couple of profiles of buying personas in a little bit. Um, so understanding after you know that buying persona, understanding the that audience and what their problems are, what the issues are, and the type of content that they watch and that they read, where and when, it's basically extremely important. And without that knowledge, everything else you do will become a shot in the dark. So these are a couple of examples of what a buying persona is, and an amazing tool that we can use, nowadays. And I'm sure all of you know about this. ChatGPT or any of the AI applications will help assist us in creating some buying personas. So after you know what are the demographic characteristics and psychographic characteristics of your audience, you can now start playing with the different buying personas. So as you can see, this is a buying persona for a tax company. She is Maria Gonzalez. She's a young entrepreneur. She is 27 years old. She lives in Fairfax, Virginia. She owns an online store of handmade products. She just registered her business and needs support in bookkeeping and tax management. She's looking for a solution for bookkeeping and payroll management for her 2 employees, and also needs year-end tax preparation. She also prefers the use of technology to coordinate meetings and services such as video calls and access online reports. I would say that a lot of the people present in this presentation today are like Maria Gonzalez. And if you wanted to add more information to this buyer persona's profile, you can add, the platforms that she visits, which times of the day she visits those platforms, if she is married, if she's single, if she has kids, how many kids she has. And then you'll start asking yourself, why is this information important? It's very important because, when you have 2 kids, for example, and you're trying to post something out at 6 or 7 in the morning, if you're a Latina mom, you're probably taking your kids to the school. And so, doing a post in social media while you're on your car with your 2 kids taking them to school might be a lost effort, because you'll be driving your car, you won't be scrolling on social media. So understanding every single detail of your buying persona is extremely important to be able to generate content for them, whether it's organic or paid, and getting results out of all that content that you create. So when you want to understand what to make content, these are what I think are really helpful tips to start building a list of topics that you could use to start making content, videos, and designs today. Okay, so you could do some some digging on Google, use artificial intelligence, or certain platforms like Answer the Public is a very important platform and a very cool tool that we use from time to time to understand what are the questions that people are asking on the internet. So Answer the Public will basically, you'll type in a topic or an industry, and it will tell you, what are most, the people on the internet asking, what type of questions they're asking, so that you can uh, create content, blogs, and videos that has that specific search intent that audience has. So that way, you're not necessarily, throwing arrows to the sky, but you're making content about specific topics that people are asking out there. Um, the other way to do this is listening to your own customers. Your best content ideas are often hidden in your daily conversations with customers. So run surveys, every time you can, maybe once a month or every now and then, do surveys to your clients to understand what is the quality of your service, how satisfied are they, and within that, customer service or satisfaction survey, you can sneak some questions about, what are your mainly concerns? What are your problems? What keeps you awake at night? But listening to your own clients, it's a very important way or method to understanding what to post out there. One thing that I recommend to our clients is every week, try to do like a recap of all the different things that happened during the week. Like, what were the interactions that you had with your clients? What were the main problems that they brought to your table? What were the main things you helped your clients with? Like right now, for example, a tax company is in the middle of of tax season, so a lot of people are coming with less money to pay for taxes or more money to pay for taxes, or in my case, I had a terrible issue with my taxes last week where I was transferring money from my company's account to my personal account directly on my bank, and that ended up generating a lot more a lot more earnings, and so that raised my my tax liability a lot more, way more than I was expected. So, in that case, for the company or my tax preparers, that would be a great video to do this week. Like, they realized that not only me, but different clients were doing the same thing and had this issue. So it's a great opportunity to make a video that starts with a hook saying, hey, don't transfer money directly from your company account to your personal account. And then kind of developing that content so that people that are going through the same situation that I was going can understand and make changes before it happens to them. So that's the type of interactions that I recommend you having, and understanding what are the problems, what are the issues that your audience and your clients have, so that you use that information to make content and to really, you know, connect with them. Yes, use AI. I mean, we're all using AI. I'm personally I'm fascinated by this little thing. I don't know if you know it. It's called the Plod AI pin. It's basically a tiny pin that you can put on your clothes, or you hang on your neck like a necklace, and it records up to 22 hours of conversations a day. You basically just turn it on, a little red light comes on, and it basically records all of your conversations and meetings and idea sessions. And at the end, it just goes to your phone and it creates a recap, action, or action items. It's amazing. But I want to recommend you to use AI as a tool and not as a decision maker. You can use ChatGPT once you understand your audience, have some buying personas, and have some information about the problems that they have. You can use ChatGPT or other AI platforms to brainstorm relevant content ideas, generate potential frequently asked questions, which is, by the way, one of the best ways to start generating content if you don't have any clients or if you don't know what to talk about. Just search on Google, what are X industries FAQs? And Google will probably give you 10 to 15 of the most as ask questions in that particular industry, and start, doing um, doing content, from those suggestions, from those frequently asked questions, and you'll see how people start engaging with that content because it's one of their problems, it's one of their issues. One of the things that we do is we reverse engineer what goes viral. If someone doesn't know, so when you reverse engineer, you find something that has a look or specific result, and you try to understand what made that thing viral, what made that piece of content viral. So, how do you reverse engineer what goes viral? Well, find viral content. Any video that you think it's viral and that has great numbers, related on to your industry or not, because you can use videos that are viral in other industries, reverse engineer it, and apply those specific moments or elements or characteristics to your own and create your own viral video. So understand their structure, their message, and apply that to your own concepts or the videos that you make for your own industry. When you kind of study those, that viral content that you find online, make sure you understand their hook, which is the very first 3 to 5 seconds of the video. Understand what they're doing in that hook, and you can replicate it. You can do something similar. But the important thing here is understand what made that video viral so that you can kind of replicate the same thing, with your own content. Take a look at the initial hooks, take a look at the transitions, the angles and graphics. And one of the most important things that I want to leave you with virality, it's clean your algorithm, which is something that I didn't even know about until a couple of years ago when we started incorporating really good community managers to the accounts. And Gabi, this specific community manager that we had, started teaching us, our whole team, about how you kind of clean your algorithm. And so a lot of people, a lot of you will have two accounts, right? We'll have a personal Instagram and we'll have an Instagram for your company. But sometimes you kind of forget that you're in your company's Instagram, and you start scrolling content that you as a person are interested in, and that isn't necessarily what your audience is interested in. So what we do is, understanding that every time you browse on any platform you're browsing, anytime you stay to watch a video, you're teaching the algorithm what you like, and that algorithm is going to adapt to that and start showing you that content. So if you go, for example, to Instagram and you click on that magnifying glass to find new accounts, you'll get a grid of different suggested videos. And if you're doing that from your company's profile and you see a lot of videos that don't have anything to do with what your company is doing, your algorithm is dirty and you need to clean it up. The way you clean it up is you hold press on any of those videos you don't want to watch and hit and not interested. You can do the same thing on Facebook, hitting on hide reel. And so what you're doing there is telling the algorithm, I'm not interested in this type of content, and then kind of interact with the ones that your audience, the ones that have to do with your industry and with your audience. And then you'll start educating that algorithm to give you the type of content that you and your audience would really be interested in. And so that is um, a much effective way to understand content that you can make for your own. And I'll show you a couple of examples that we have achieved doing that. Like, this one that you see right here is 2 million views. It was achieved, as you can see, this was posted on, March 5th. And, in less than 5 days, we got, around 2 million views, and, 100, way more than that, hundreds of comments and interactions that are becoming new ways of, for us to make content for that brand, because they're giving us ideas on the comments. You see another case right here. This was published on March 10. You can see a trend happening. This is a personal injury lawyer, and so we realized that, through cleaning that algorithm, that people love to see this type of accidents and see and interact and kind of debate on who was at fault, who should pay for the accident, will the insurance company pay or not. And so what's happening with this account is that every time we're posting new content, we are generating viral videos that increase our reach, increase our impressions, and that has a direct consequence on the ads that we're running, on the paid strategies that we're doing, on the leads, and on the sales of the client. So if you are able to understand your audience, have buyer personas, understand the content that you need to post on your social media, cleaning your algorithm, and carefully selecting the type of content that your audience and your industry will be interested in, you will get these type of results and, start blowing, like they say, blowing up on social media. This is another case for a construction company. Well, it's not a construction company. It's a company that educates contractors and subcontractors. As you can see, is a little over 3 million views. Our first one started with around 5,000 views. Then we kind of spotted a trend and started, using those type of videos. Then we got another one with 100,000. Then we got another one with 250, and then we did our first 4 million posts. And so what happens on these posts, like I said before, people start having interactions in there and give you so much material for you to create other content. And so it becomes this machine that feeds you content to do every single day, and that you can also help with your paid ads, which is something that a lot of people would do first. This is the rooftop that I was talking about on the second slide. I'm going to speed up a little bit because I only have around 12 minutes left in the presentation. And so paid ads will basically boost and help you increase um, what you've done with the organic content. And you know, for every platform that you run ads on, you need to have advanced targeting, like understand the interest, the behavior, and the location of your audience, both, you know, demographic and psychographic. You know, use good art, like good videos and designs, and optimize constantly. But one of the main mistakes that I see people committing when they do paid ads is just they run one ad. They go ahead and run one ad and then say, you know what, I don't think paid ads work for me, man, because you know I ran an ad, and then when you see that ad, you realize they were trying to convert immediately. And so when you what you see here is generate at least 13 POC, which is points of contact. People psychologically will not buy or will not generate confidence or trust around a brand, product, or a service if they haven't had at least 13 to 15 points of contact. After that 15th point of contact is when you start believing, when you start trusting that, you know, that brand, and start considering buying from them. And so I want to teach you, I want to show you something. uh, you know, as you can see right here, some of you may know Tony Robbins, which is, you know, every time we start working on new brands, we ask our clients, who do you want to replicate? Who are your role models? Who do you, you know, follow on Instagram or on social media that you want to look like? And a lot of times they say, well, Tony Robbins. You can see here, Tony Robbins has 44 active ads right now. These were all published in April 2025. And you can see all of the different ads that Tony Robbins has. Same thing with this is Russell Brunson. Who's this? Margarita Pasos, which is a very well-known sales training person in the digital space. She has 88. And when you see Russell Brunson, which is the creator and founder of ClickFunnels, you have 28. 2 weeks ago, this was on 90 because he was promoting an event that he had. And so when I say don't make just one ad, I mean it. Don't waste your money on one ad because it's going to be very difficult for you to generate sales out of that. My recommendation would be to generate different ads in different stages of the purchasing process of your client, which is awareness, consideration, and purchase or decision. So you need to generate um, many different brand awareness ads so that your content gets as many eyes as possible, gets as many views, sorry, and as many profile visits and as much reach as possible. So you have the most people watching your content, and then out of that huge number, you start generating traffic ads to certain landing pages or, you know, forms for people to download a guide or any written resource that you might offer them. Once they know of the existence of your brand, they start generating interest through traffic ads to through any resource you might give them, whether it's a long video with, you know, information and education or entertainment about a specific topic that they're interested in, about a specific problem that they have, and then run, you know, conversion ads. There's a distribution that we like to use, which is 70, 15, 75, 15, and 10. 75% brand awareness for people that don't know you exist. 15 of traffic for people that might be interested in your content, want to download, fill a form, or send your information. And then, only 10% for what it is conversion ads. You also have the retargeting ads, which is basically, ads that will kind of convince you to come back, whether you've interacted with a post on social media, whether you've visited a page but didn't take an action, or left something on your cart. Remarketing ads is one of the best retargeting and remarketing ads is one of the best ways to finish those 13 points of contact. And you can, for example, build, doing a long ad talking about a specific topic, and then do a remarketing ad where you just direct that ad to people that watched more than 50 or more than 75% of that long video, which will tell you that they might have been interested in that specific topic. So you do a retargeting ad saying, hey, I saw that you watch our video. I want to talk about a specific promotion or offer that we have right now. Click on this button. And then, you have a lead from there. Okay. Um, a tip here I want to tell you: whenever you run organic content, whenever you start posting organic content and you see good numbers on any of your organic posts, I want to recommend you to run ads on them. Some people use TikTok as a testing ground, meaning that they post a lot of content on TikTok, and then whatever works on TikTok, they make him ads. But that's changing. I would say that whenever you have good numbers on any organic content, go ahead and run ads on it, because algorithms will favor that content a lot more than if you're running an ad on just a regular post that you just posted. On retargeting and remarketing, like I just said, so over 90% of the people don't buy anything the first time they visit a website. And that's how, remarketing helps. It shows your ads specifically to people after they left your website or engaged with your social media posts. It tailor the ads based on what they did on your site. For instance, show an ad for a product they looked at but didn't buy. And like I said, you can build whole remarketing strategies for different actions that people might have taken within your digital ecosystem for them to come back or to finish, their interaction, whether it is on the traffic, on the traffic part, or on the middle of your funnel, or in the conversion part, which is the bottom of your funnel. And the last pillar of our system for digital transformation is influencer partnerships. Most people will start with this. They, a lot of times, I've seen people not having a website, not having social profiles, and paying an influencer money to generate clients for them. And that might work, but whenever you stop paying that influencer for that content, that moment your leads stop coming in. That's why having a full um, digital ecosystem with solid bases, with really good and sturdy walls, and with a good roof that protects the whole structure, is the best way to consider, or the best moment to consider doing partnerships with influencers. And with influencers, don't think it's millions of followers. There are nano or micro influencers, meaning 1,000 followers, a couple of thousand followers, that have an audience that are completely engaged with them, that completely trust them, and that might be more beneficial to your brand than having an influencer that has maybe 5 to 10 million followers that are all around the world that are not likely to buy your product. And so um, I I wanted to do this as fast as I could to be able to also talk about the video production part. But my alarm just sounded. It means that I've talked to, for about 35 minutes straight. I talk a lot. And I don't think, depends on what Mauricio tells me, that I'll be able to finish telling you about how to record professional videos with your phone. But if the answer is no, I would still send this to any person that is interested in having this presentation, because I basically explain the 7 different uh, uh, keys that you need to have that take into consideration to make professional videos. And at the end, I also have recommendation of really cool apps that you can start using today to make that content.
You
Mauricio?
know, go right ahead. If you can do that in the next 5 to 10 minutes, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll make my I'll
Wonderful.
do the best to do that. So I don't know if you, yeah, you can see in my on my left right there in the back. Those are some of my cameras and some of my lenses. That's around $15,000 to $20,000 in the table. And before, that was the only way to make organic content, to make professional videos, to make content that converted. But today, most of you have what all of that can achieve in your pocket, which is basically your phone. If you have an iPhone, if you have an Android, any phone that is from 2 or 3 years to this day, it's an amazing tool to make videos. So, the 7 things that you need to make sure that you understand and configure properly within your phone to make professional videos is codec, resolution, frame rate, composition, stabilization, audio, and editing. Let's go one by one. So for the codec, iPhones will allow you to record videos in MOV or in MP4. MP4, like the MP3, are compressed files. When we talk about audio, WAV, it's the most one of the most uncompressed type of audio, and then you have the MP3, which is compressed. It's basically shrink down so it can occupy less space and can be sent, with a lot more files, to put it some way. The same thing happens with MOVs and MP4s. MOVs tends to be a video that is less compressed, that has a lot more data for you to edit, for you to colorize, and for you to make something more professional out of that video. So if I were you, I would always choose MOV over MP4. For the resolution, I would choose 4K. That will fill up your phone a lot faster, but it will give you a lot more resolution to work with. It would allow you to clip your clips to your long form videos. Um, there's um, there's a way of explaining it with an iPad and a phone, but my phone is recording me right now. So if you see this screen right now, let's think this screen as 4K. Your HD would be about half of that screen. So recording in 4K gives you a lot more space to be able to also play in post production and to make bigger or smaller without losing as much quality. So if you decide to record in 4K, you'll have to upload all of that into a service like Dropbox or iCloud or Mega for your phone to stay light and to be able to always keep, adding more videos to it. Frame rate. Your phone will also give you different options. It will allow you to record in 24, 30, 60, 120, and sometimes 240. To make it a lot more simple, so 24 and 30, use it for whenever you're talking in front of a camera. 60, 120, 140 is mostly used for when you're doing something that you want to play in slow motion. Let's say you're serving, a drink on your restaurant. You are running and doing something that has rapid movement, and you want to make slow motion for it to look a lot cooler. Then you use 60, 120, and 240. Your phone and every single camera also has grid lines. It allows you, if you go into the settings of your camera on your iPhone, which is what I use mainly, you will find an option that you can activate your grid. Your grid is basically those lines that you see right there. It's actually three. It's not four like you're seeing right there on the image, but it allows you to compose, to frame your shots a lot better. It allows you to also um, not have a crooked shot, because it will allow you to use those vertical lines or horizontal lines to align to anything that you have on your frame to make sure it's straight and it's not crooked. Because sometimes, and we go back to the 4K, if your footage is 4K and you're editing on HD and it's crooked, you'll still be able to fix it without losing any quality. So then again, there's another importance there of why you should record on 4K. Stabilization, you can use a gimbal, which is a handheld stabilizer that I'm pretty sure you've seen. Mine, I don't have right now with me, but you can use a tripod, a gimbal, or a camera cage like this that I'm using right now to record what I'm talking to you about. And it will basically give you a lot more stabilization. If you don't have um, a cage or any of these elements, I want to encourage you to stop recording your videos like this or like this with your hands away from your body. What I want to recommend is to hold your phone with both of your hands, either vertically or horizontally. Lock both of your elbows to your rib cage so you have one, two, three, 4 points of contact with your phone. And now it's a lot more stable and it doesn't move around so much. Also, you can activate a stabilization within your phone that will make movement in your videos a lot more smooth. And that way, they're not shaky, and people are not focusing on the shakiness, but on the actual content and the value that you're providing. Audio is a big thing. A brain will accept crappy video with a very good audio, but it will not accept the opposite. If you're watching a very, very good 8K movie, but it doesn't sound well, or you can really hear it that well, the brain will not accept that. So I would say that audio is way more important than video when you're making content that educates, that entertains, and that inspires people. So whether you're using a microphone like the Landmark Lark video microphones, which are tiny little microphones that you can put in your clothes, like the one that you see right here, or any high-end microphones, or even um, an AI tool like the one that you can read here, podcast.adobe.com will do amazing things for your audio. They were doing a test lately where a person is stalking on the other side of the street yelling with cars passing by, and their technology is able to erase completely, to isolate the cars and bring back the audio of the person. So use podcast.adobe.com, and I'm going to give you a couple of um, options here and tips that you can use today to start generating content. These are the apps that I use every single day to make content for myself, for my clients. When I'm not using my cameras, of course, I use all of these apps. Captions is one of the most important ones, which brings me to recommend you to always put closed captions on your videos, always subtitle them. 70 to 75% of the people that watch content online will watch it without audio, whether because you're sleeping, next to your partner and you don't want to wake them up because maybe you're working and you're not supposed to be watching videos, or you're in the bathroom or whatever. A lot of times you consume this content without audio. So having subtitles on them will increase your engagement like 200%, because people will still get their value whether they have the volume on or not. Detailed video is the next big thing. I mean, I've been using it for a couple of months and I am amazed at the results that you can get out of this app. You can record a podcast with both cameras of your phone using the back camera and the front camera, and it will allow you to record both people at the same time. It will help you or allow you to do reaction videos, to use a prompter on the front of your phone so you can read while you're still being recorded with the front camera. It's amazing. You should really, start experimenting with it. Podcast.adobe.com is the best tool that I can recommend to fix an audio. You'd be amazed of the type of audio that I've been able to fix and use with podcast.adobe.com. And you should start in it immediately. Um, Photo Room is another amazing app that will, especially for people that are selling physical products that have an e-commerce or anything physical that you sell. You'll see how amazing Photo Room is, because it will take the background of any picture. It will detect through AI and erase the background of any picture in a matter of seconds, and will also provide you with templates for designs of all kinds of things, of flyers, of even if you're making like thumbnails, whatever type of design that you're trying to make, Photo Room will help you do. The TikTok editor, a lot of people use it. I use a lot the Reels editor of Instagram, but they just announced a couple of weeks ago, sorry, that they're about to launch their own editing software within the platform. So that's another great news. And so that's I think that's the last slide. One person versus a full team. If you have a established company and are making money, I want to ask you to please don't leave your whole marketing to just one person. Try to build a marketing department. One person, it's very hard for one person to be able to to create a strategy, execute a strategy, know about video production, know about graphic design, know about creative writing, and all these things. So I want to encourage you to build a full marketing team so that you have different abilities within your marketing team and you don't burn out that only person that you have. And that would be it. So anything you guys want to ask about, if you want this presentation, just send us inbox on our Instagram or any of our pages with the word presentation at any of our pages in Bravo Media Corp. And we'll go ahead and share this and answer any questions you might have. I think this was a little longer than expected.
It's fine, but it was a great presentation. Nestor, muchas gracias. Thank you
No,
so
thank you.
much for the breadth of information that you shared with us today. So yeah, we have some questions, and there's a couple of things. Number one, we will send the presentation to the people that attended this webinar. So we will be broadcasting that via email, in addition to contacting Nestor directly. So we will be sharing this presentation. Number two, for those that are asking about the networking event, we posted that information in the link, hccmc.org/Cinco de Mayo with the discount code. And with that, we have a few other questions. We'll definitely be inviting Nestor for another session later this season. Because
I'll make sure to make it shorter.
yeah, there's much more information that people need to get and that Nestor is willing to share with us. So we know that an hour and a quarter is probably not enough. So we will have a second part to this conversation, and we're very gracious that for Nestor's availability and willingness to participate with us. So there's a question, will you be sharing the recording? Yes, we will be posting the recording on our YouTube channel in a couple of weeks. Can you resend information for the networking event I did? Is there a posting frequency that you feel like reaches the most clients?
So great question. And that is a question that is asked every single day. It depends on the platform. It depends on your audience and the age group that they belong to. Because if you, so in TikTok, for example, TikTok people tend to post multiple videos a day. And for a lot of people, that works. But do you have the capacity to generate that amount of content? The people that will post a lot more than just one post a day will, they usually have like a podcast. And so they just clip the long form content and make short clips of that long form content. So they have many different videos to post online. But generally, what we do is that we try to allow at least 24 to 36 hours for the algorithm to give us the organic reach that it usually gives us. And after that, 2 to 3 days, we post the next post. Again, it depends on the audience. When it's an audience that it's very much engaged and that's always asking for new stuff, we post every single day. Like for that account that I showed you with the accidents, we post every single day, and we post around. So to give you just regular numbers, I would do 4 to 5 stories a day. I would do one reel every 1 to 2 days, and one post weekly. If you can do a live stream monthly, that would also help so that you use all of the different formats available in all these platforms for the algorithm to give you a lot more visibility within that platform. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. We have another question for Jorge, from Jorge. Jorge says you talk about following trends, but let's say you have a client and they want you to set a full new personality for their brand. Is there a framework for innovation or like a theory of change that helps? Like, what's your strategy beyond asking them what's their inspiration on social media?
So a lot of times we just go and understand what other similar companies are doing to understand, because first we want to know what is working out there, so we're not hitting and missing, we're not throwing an arrow to the sky. We at least go to competitors and to it doesn't have to be a direct competitor, but a bigger, much bigger competitor that doesn't even qualify in the same game, to understand what it's really helping with that, within that industry. And then depending on the personality of the client, we start generating content with that personality, and then kind of start doing like A/B testing and start testing the content to see if it resonates with the audience, and changing things. Like, for example, we have a client that has a very particular way of speaking and talking, and he swears a lot. He likes to decir muchas groserías. And we found a way to make really entertaining content with his way of talking. And so we just let him rip whatever he wants to say. And contrary to what we thought would happen, people are really engaging with his posts and with his videos, and that's where we're capitalizing. We're building our whole strategy around him talking in front of the camera with this particular way of him speaking. So we're kind of creating our own trend within that brand, but that needs a lot more testing, a lot more hit and miss, and with references and competitors, you can generate a strategy that will be a lot more effective than just throwing those arrows to the sky.
Nice. A question from Minor. He says, does sharing posts as stories count, or do you prefer posting original stories?
It does count. So again, what we said before, what are your audience's problems and issues? Let's talk about about one of the companies that I showed you with the construction business. Contractors and subcontractors, they like to see people falling and people messing up in construction, but a lot of times they also like to see someone doing really cool stuff and really doing a really good job, building things. And so in that account, for example, that where we've achieved, over 4 times 3 and 4 million views with different posts, we tend to share stories and reshare posts of some really good contractors that we know in South and North Carolina. We don't take their video, make it our own, and post it. No, we repost in stories, and we generate partnerships with them and do collaborations with them. So their content is shared on our page, even if that means that some of that audience is going to go there, because at the end is going to help them with a specific issue and problem that they have, and they will remember you for that.
Okay, well, I don't see any more questions in the chat. With that, again, I would like to welcome Nestor. I would like to thank you, Nestor. Muchas gracias por toda la información, por tu tiempo, compartir este conocimiento con nosotros. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and experience with all of us. I know that several have expressed in the chat that they will get in touch with you via LinkedIn or via email, so I'm sure you'll be hearing from the audience. As I said, we will be sharing the presentation with everybody. We will be posting this presentation on our YouTube channel as well for those who want to revisit, and we will most definitely welcome you back, Nestor, for part 2 of this wonderful presentation.
Thank you, Mauricio. I'm very, very honored to have been here. I hope this really, gave you some value. And again, I'm always available for questions, for, anything you might need. I'm here for you. And thank you again for the invitation, Mauricio.
Absolutely. And looking forward to seeing you and everybody else at the networking event on May 1st.
We'll see you there.
Okay.
Have a good
Thanks,
one.
everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.